Is a few hours away from us. Our Mark Vanderhoff is there now. Mark, good morning to you. Tell us what you're seeing now in daylight.
Well, we are at the site of the factory in an industrial park, and there is a lot of damage. Take a look at this pile of debris. That was once a factory. Emergency crews are there going through the rubble. They've just pulled in some heavy equipment to begin lifting some of that rubble out of the way as they search for people. These buildings in this industrial park are just flattened. Out on the road, there are power lines and utility wires everywhere. There is twisted metal everywhere. The battered remains of cars off to the side of the road, and clearly exhausted workers going back and forth between the site and their cars. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, there was a large building right where you're looking, and now it's nothing but just a pile of debris. I don't know if you could see, but there's actually a van on top of the pile of debris. It must have gotten blown onto the top of the building.
And Mark, Julie was just asking about seeing some of the vehicles that are there. Have you been able to see anyone that has been helped at all, or are you only seeing emergency workers right now?
We just pulled up to the scene moments ago and set up our equipment immediately to go live. So I haven't had the chance to talk to anybody or to really survey the situation, but I will tell you this: everybody that I've seen here is an emergency worker. I have not seen one person here who appears to be an employee of this plant or who appears to be getting any kind of medical attention or anything like that.
Yeah, we have heard that the Graves County Emergency Management Director has asked all of those volunteers and employees and family members to congregate at the high school. That's probably why you're not seeing anybody out there. Now, you said you've never seen anything like this, Mark. This is devastating to see from the ground and in the air. You also saw destruction on your way into town. In fact, you were sidetracked and you had to take other roads to get there. Talk to us about your journey and what else you saw on your way.
Yeah, so we came down the Western Kentucky Parkway, which becomes Interstate 69, and it was pitch black because so many places just didn't have any power. And as daylight slowly started to dawn, we began seeing the signs of damage. Lots of trees that were just snapped in half, bits of debris on the road. And then eventually we hit a point where the interstate was closed and we had to get off at Benton and began taking side roads to get into Mayfield. The closer we got to Mayfield, the worse the damage. The more trees that were blown over, the more utility poles knocked down. There was just all kinds of stuff blown everywhere. You know, trampolines, garbage cans, soccer goals, kids' toys. People were slowly kind of starting to come out of their homes and assess the damage, and you could just sort of see them looking around and taking in the damage. But boy, it was nothing compared to what you're seeing right here. I mean, this is just the worst that we have seen coming in here. It's almost like the epicenter of the damage.
Yeah, Mark, oftentimes when you cover storms and you drive through town to get there and there's a wooded area like we can see behind the factory, you can sometimes see the exact path. You can say, oh, it's the size of a football field, or, you know, how wide that storm was. Have you been able to see a direct path, or is it just like you said, that epicenter is what you see?
No, I see what you're getting at, but that hasn't been very evident as we've come in. And, you know, these are rural roads that are twisty and windy, and so we've taken lots of turns and twists, and sometimes things are okay, and then you come around a corner and it's, you know, lots of damage. So it's the conditions have been variable, to say the least, on the way in. Take a look at those firefighters walking in. I mean, you can just tell they are exhausted, and probably, the things that they have seen has probably taken a toll on them as well.
Yeah, our thoughts go out to the servicemen and women out there, those first responders, and of course the families who are waiting to hear from someone this morning. This is just a rough morning in Mayfield, Kentucky, and across the Commonwealth. It really is, shocking to see images like this.
So rare that we see this in our backyard. And I'm just wondering, Mark, we're seeing a number of vehicles that appear to be in the damage. Does it look to you as if those vehicles were kind of lifted up and thrown into the building area, or is it a parking lot? Are you able to get any idea of what the setup was there, or is it just too difficult to tell?
The vehicles that you're seeing in that pile of debris were definitely lifted up and thrown about. And we saw that coming into this industrial park. Cars that were turned over on their side that looked like they had been honestly, it looked like somebody had picked them up and thrown them down. One of them had a huge dent in its hood where it appeared that a utility pole just smashed down on top of it. I've never seen anything like this. The power of that tornado to just lift up these cars and then throw them down, and certainly the power of it to just smash this building that you're looking at. I mean, this was a factory, and now look at it.
Right, with 100 people working in it overnight, which, sometimes when these storms hit overnight, you get lucky because nobody's working, or the factory or the store is closed. That was not the case this time. 110 or 112 people, I believe the governor said, were in that factory when the roof collapsed. And it wasn't just a collapse, as you can see. I mean, it was just devastated.
And I'm just wondering, Mark, I'm seeing excavators there, I'm seeing backhoes there, but I'm not hearing or seeing them actually working. Does it appear to you that it's kind of a person-by-person search, that people are actually doing the searching at this point, that they perhaps don't want to have that heavy equipment moving some of the debris, because it looks like it's just the emergency crews that are there?
I wondered that same thing, but we saw those excavators and backhoes being brought in, so they just arrived. So maybe they're getting things in place and getting the people in place that they need to operate them, but I really just don't know.
It seems like it's just such a huge, massive operation. Does it appear that there is one person that is in charge? I can't imagine the logistics of trying to cover this amount of real estate with this amount of damage. Have you gotten word on that at all, Mark?
Well, we just arrived to the scene and set up for our live shot immediately. But what I can tell you is that I see agencies from all over the state represented here. Trigg County EMS, McCracken County EMS, Hopkinsville Christian County EMS. I mean, you could tell that workers are coming from all over the area to pitch in here. And you might recall that the state emergency director, Mike Dossett, saying that they were setting up, Central Command. I don't know if that Central Command is actually here or the Forward Command is here. To be honest with you, we're just trying to get a grip on the situation ourselves as we've just arrived.
And Mark, you've been a reporter for a long time, first with newspapers and obviously with WLKY. How does this compare to other storms that you've seen?
I've never seen anything like this. I've seen a lot of devastating fires. I worked out west and saw wildfires out west, but I've never seen the amount of property damage. And, of course, what's most tragic here is that this property damage is led to lives lost. The governor said 50, maybe 70 to 100. Nothing can prepare you for walking up to a scene like this. We were looking for the factory. It sounds kind of naive, kind of dumb, but we were looking, where was the factory at? And then it occurred to us, we're not going to see it because it's been flattened. This is in an industrial park here, and right on the other side of the road from this factory, there's a building that's largely intact. However, there's a lot of buildings that have been flattened like this. I'm assuming that nobody was working at these other buildings in this industrial park, but that this candle factory just happened to be the one factory where people were working overnight.
And Mark, we were
you
here.
can see some folks from the Mayfield Police. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No. Please continue.
Now you can see these folks from the Mayfield Fire Department here. We're seeing a lot of emergency workers coming out and taking a break. You can imagine getting the call and then being here all night long. I mean, who knows what kind of sleep these folks have had and how hard they've been working all night. And the looks on their faces, it's exhaustion mixed with shock, frankly, is what it looks like to me.
Yeah, I'd imagine they didn't get much sleep. I was talking to somebody in Mayfield earlier this morning who was talking about the rescue. He said that he was trying to make it to a checkpoint at the church he had made with his family. He didn't make it there. There was a pole in the road. He heard somebody screaming who approached his car and said, family members trapped in this factory. Can you please come help? He said at the time it was pitch black, power out, middle of the night. They couldn't see anything. So the first thing they did was get a hold of emergency responders, find all the lighting they could to light this factory up. He said hundreds of volunteers started pouring out of their homes to come to this scene to help. And it wasn't until daylight we were able to see just how bad this damage was. But when we saw some of those aerials from overnight that were lit, that was all thanks to volunteers, police officers who were out there. They said volunteers were even bringing gloves to people so they could dig through that without the fear of hurting their hands. So this really was a community effort to save lives. The man I talked to said he was so grateful for the outpouring of support. Most of those people have made their way to the high school. I'd imagine it's a very emotional time there right now. Whether you have family who is affected or not, this is a small community of 10,000 people, and for it to be devastated like this, it's going to take a long time to get over.
I mean, I think it's upsetting for those of us who aren't even nearby. It's in the Commonwealth. It's in our backyard. It's very upsetting to see. You know, Mark, we were seeing your photojournalist, Pete, who is with you, who was showing us an overturned school bus there. We have vehicles that were thrown on top of the building. And I just don't think we want to forget that there were people, more than 100 people in that building that we're looking at right now. That is nothing but rubble at this point. And so obviously you were saying those firefighters and emergency crews were trying to take a break. I cannot imagine how difficult it must be for them to have to sort through this rubble knowing that there are people in there.
And you guys, in a way,
and just to
go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
Just to get in here, I got to tell you guys, just to get in here, I mean, you could see I don't know if you could see that overturned car, but just to get in here, you could tell that they had to cut through trees, utility poles that had been cut down. I mean, I think just to get access to the site to begin to help people was probably an effort in and of itself. And like you mentioned, it was in the dark. So it probably wasn't easy even getting to the site.
And we do want to mention, we heard from Governor Andy Beshear around 5 this morning, who declared a state of emergency across the Commonwealth. He also requested federal assistance, and you can see why this damage. Mayfield was the epicenter of this, but we have damage reports in 17 counties and multiple states as well.
And part of the issue, of course, and Mark, as you can tell from looking at this, is it was a long track tornado. It stayed on the ground for 200 miles. So this was the same storm that devastated areas to our west, but a very powerful storm. And you just can't believe what you're looking at here. And unfortunately, it just is a terrifying situation here.
Yeah, we learned that the governor's plane took off, headed to Mayfield, Kentucky, around 8 a.m. this morning. He is going to survey the damage there. We are expecting to hear from him later today. He also told us, Mark, that they have deployed 180 National Guards men and women across the Commonwealth to help with situations like this. I'd imagine a town like Mayfield doesn't have a huge police force, a huge fire force, and I'd bet that every single one of them employed there is out there this morning. And there aren't many that we can see, but our hearts go out to them as they dig through this rubble and search for survivors this morning.
And Mark, you were saying that on your way there, you actually saw a local emergency crew that was on the Western Kentucky Parkway.
That's right. We saw an ambulance and a fire truck from PRP headed out, and it's a good thing because they're going to need help out here. These folks that you might have just seen in that shot, they've probably been out here all night. And when you look at that pile of debris, it's unimaginable how long it's going to take to sort through that. I mean, that's not something that's going to happen today or probably even tomorrow. I mean, this is going to be a multi-day effort. A lot of that stuff looks very heavy, a lot of steel and iron in there. And as we discussed earlier, there are vehicles that were lifted up by the tornado and then slammed back down on top of all this rubble. I mean, it's not going to be an easy feat to pull out some of those vehicles, and then just everything kind of twisted and tangled up together.
And that's
you
probably...
can imagine that you've probably got to be very careful as you pull each piece of debris apart.
That's right, because you have to, as you move each part, you don't know what's going to happen underneath. You don't know where the people are that you're trying to get to, and you don't want to cause more damage. And that's why I was wondering why maybe some of that heavy equipment just wasn't being used quite yet in the cleanup effort, if it's just a person-to-person effort at this point.
Well, there's actually it looks like a backhoe that is now approaching the scene. So maybe, it was just a question of getting the equipment staged and getting the people here to operate the equipment and figuring out their approach. But I don't know if you could see that backhoe that just came in and appears to be moving towards the rubble. So maybe they are getting close to where they're going to be using this heavy equipment to start the work here.
And we've talked about the exhaustion that some of these first responders might be feeling. Some of them have been on the scene for up to 10 hours. This tornado hit Mayfield, Kentucky, reportedly around 9:30 local time, which they are on Central Time in Mayfield, Kentucky. So that would have been 10:30 our time. And as you told us, Matt, that's about the time those storms would be rolling in, getting severe. So so many people had a heads up on this, and it's just awful to see, regardless of having a heads up or not, the storm's coming. I mean, it's going to cause destruction.
When you look at that factory and what's left of it, and you think of, we tell everyone you go to an interior room, away from windows, or try to get in a basement below ground. I don't know if that factory had anywhere below ground to go to, but those workers could have been in a safe place, or what we deem as a safe place for most tornadoes. And we see this, collapse and devastation. And I just don't think that there's, any way. I think anyone who did survive in that building, you're pretty lucky. It's miraculous, actually.
When we heard from the governor earlier, he called this one of the most devastating weather events in the Commonwealth's history. He said it might even surpass the 1974 storm. He says initially about 50 people dead. Then he said later between 70 and 100 feared dead. We don't have an exact number as of yet. It is just so sad, though, to hear that the number is already estimated to be that high. And that was before the sun had even come up. People reported missing in multiple counties, including here in our viewing area, Suzanne.
Yeah, that's right. And to Taylor County, we were talking to KSP earlier, Julie, and KSP was telling us that there were several people missing. We suspected it was out of Taylor County. They also said that one person had died in the storm, so they were working to get the very latest information. There was limited communication there. And obviously with those overnight storms, when it is still dark out, it's very difficult to get an idea of exactly what's happening. But that was in the WLKY viewing area in Taylor County with that storm that we were tracking during the overnight hours, Matt, that was in the Hobson area. Yep. Right now, obviously, this is outside the WLKY viewing area, but this is a massive, this is a once in a lifetime storm that you're looking at right now. This is not something that happens typically in our area. This is a once in a lifetime event that we're looking at here.
And it wasn't just this factory that was devastated in Mayfield. The courthouse was. Several homes were. This tornado that was on the ground for 200 miles took out miles and miles of buildings, trees, you name it, cars, roadways. It was difficult for Mark to get there this morning just to show us this. We know WLKY Chopper HD is in the air on its way to show you aerial footage, which we have seen from the dark, but we have yet to see in daylight. And to be quite honest with you, it's going to be hard to see.
It's upsetting to see it from this perspective here. Mark, I know it's probably very upsetting for you personally to be there, to know that you have people that are trying to fight for their lives basically at this point, where we have this storm that has just decimated this huge building that had more than 100 people in it. Can you speak to sort of your experience, what you're feeling right now, Mark?
It's almost hard to describe, just because I've never seen anything like this. And it was kind of emotional coming up on the scene. It was like, I mentioned earlier, we were kind of looking for the factory. I was looking at it on the map on my phone, thinking, okay, it's got to be over here somewhere. And then it dawned on me, wait a minute, we're not going to see this factory. It's flattened. And at that point, I think just kind of this wave of emotion kind of hit me, and I realized, wow, this is bigger than anything I've ever seen. And I really feel for a lot of these firefighters and other emergency personnel who are walking around here. You can tell that they're going through a lot, but I have a lot of respect for them and what they do to be here and put that time in all night long.
Mark, it's tough for us to tell because of the camera zoom how close you are. Have you been able to hear any of the chatter among those first responders to see what they're congregating around right now, or where they're walking to and from? Do they hear noises? Are they trying, obviously you haven't gotten to talk one-on-one with anybody to see a strategy here, but have you been able to, just by looking, figure anything?
No, I haven't. And as soon as we got here, we got set up. So we haven't had a chance to talk to anybody on the ground yet. But what I can tell you is that when we're probably about maybe 50 yards away from what you're seeing right now on your screen. And when people do walk away from the scene, they're not talking. They're pretty quiet. Even if there's several of them together, it's almost like they're just walking away to take a break. And then they're turning around and going back over there to do some more work. And they're very silent when they walk over our way. And they'll kind of stand there for a minute and take a break and then walk back. So we've got crews that are continuously arriving. I just saw what appears to be a private search and rescue company that looks like it that just came in. Different firefighter or fire departments rather, and different EMS groups. But from all the way where we're at, we can't hear much.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could see, but there's a very large group. You can't see it in your screen, but there's a very large group that's leaving the scene now, or that's leaving the pile.
Okay.
I think because a backhoe is getting ready to go in and move some of the debris around. I think you can see it now.
And you're just hopeful that there are going to be stories that are going to come out of here that are going to be positive. Certainly. I mean, I think that's what I'm hoping. I wish I could see someone being helped, and it's just so scary to see all of those emergency crews out there, but you're not seeing any of the factory workers out there.
Mm-hmm. And for those of you watching from home.
No, and it'll be a miracle if we do see somebody.
It absolutely would be a miracle.